Good afternoon, meteorologist Adam Truwinski here. Meteorologist Jacob Dickey is out in the storm tracker right now. We're getting live video right now from the storm tracker. They're outside of Westville, and it's a large field fire taking place yet again for today. That's what we've been talking about all morning, is the potential for more fires for today, and we're already seeing some right now that's being combated right now. We're going to take a look at what Jacob's up to there as he's in Westville and what he's seeing here in just a bit, but we'll talk more about what to expect for the rest of the day as well, as we are still going to see more conditions conducive for fire weather. We'll talk more about that, plus what to expect for the weekend and next week coming up very soon. But first, WCIA 3 News at Noon starts right now. It's almost like a repeat of yesterday there, Taylor. You'll see we have our current wind speeds from the south there, still very strong. That's just the sustained winds at about 30 miles per hour there in Champaign there. As we move forward, though, you'll see that our wind gusts are even stronger. 39 miles per hour there in Champaign, 40 in Decatur, 29 in Danville, 33 in Paris, and 35 in Mattoon. So those winds are howling, and that is not helping anything here in central Illinois. It's making things worse. Right now, we're looking out towards the east to see if we can see any of the smoke from that fire there over towards the Westville area, and so far nothing. We'll have to check one of our Danville cameras to see if it'll pick anything up. The rain is well off to our west. We're seeing showers and thunderstorms there into Iowa and western Illinois, but it's not here. Not enough to really quench some of the possibility of more fire. So we're going to see more opportunities for fire for today. Again, we have dry vegetation out there. We have a lot of strong winds, as we just showed, and we're also seeing really dry conditions. This morning, the relative humidity was pretty high. Temperatures were close to the air temperature. Now we're seeing a little more of that gap in between the two. Therefore, we're going to see more and more of the dry conditions continue on. So both in the air, both in the vegetation, and both in the winds as well. So again, it is going to be not a fun day.
Severe weather.
Very, very cautious for today.
If you're just going to be dropping commercial breaks.
Might spark a flame out there.
This is not
be very
a good
cautious
feel.
and mindful throughout the entire day. Taylor, back over to you.
Okay. Yeah, we've been watching this fire for a while here, Taylor. We are now looking at the camera now. I'm on West Main Street. This fire is just on the other side of this home here, and the smoke is pouring into the west side of town there. If you look, you can kind of see some of the farmers that are in behind this house trying to till up some of the ground, and the flames are only a few hundred feet south of West Main Street here. So I'm going to try and adjust my camera and see what we can see. There are multiple crews that are unseen from the fire department. Amanda Brennan is down on the south part of the fire, and then I'm up here in West Main Street, and you can see that thick smoke moving on through here, the area. The wind is pushing this into town, and the flames are getting close to residential areas here. You're going to see a tractor with a tiller probably pop around the corner here in a second. Farmers are in there working hand in hand with the fire. To get an idea more of where we are, this is the western part of Westville here, the western boundary, and you can see the to some of these field fire, I should say, on the west side of Westville right now. Can be a little confusing with the directions, but the smoke is pouring into the western part of town, West Main Street. West Main Street is closed. Vermilion County Sheriff is on scene. The Westville Police is on scene. They're not letting anyone through here, and we've seen some folks that have been leaving their homes, that have been trying to get out of here. We don't have any structures that we know of at this point that are on fire, but here you go. Here comes a brush truck right there. As they're working their way to contain this blaze, they've been tilling up the ground. They are trying to spray this because this is now getting very close to the west side of Westville. Taylor, I want to send it back to you. I don't know if you have any questions or anything like that, anything I can answer as we watch this scene unfold.
Yes, Jacob, I want to know, do we know of any possible evacuations? Is it a mandatory evacuation, or are they just asking people to evacuate?
I have not heard of any official evacuation notices, but I think the safe thing is if the smoke is thick where you live, it's probably a good idea to leave because that thick smoke is where the fire is heading next. The wind pushing that fire along, and so as these crews are working to contain it, you know, that fire gets a little close. You don't want to be in the path of that fire. It could move quickly, just like we saw yesterday. It is also moving very quickly today. Trying to tell what department that is there. Not able to see, but those firefighters, looks like that brush truck there, they are working to try and contain this as it's getting really, really uncomfortably close here to the west side of town. Again, you can see this is the west edge of Westville right there,
Hey,
where we're in the city
right now,
limits.
too.
This
Just
fire is now
We're
burning
live streaming right
onto
now,
the
so
edge
it's not
of
big deal, just
town.
letting you know.
I have not seen any flames at my location yet, at least any definitive ones, but we know
yes,
where the
on Facebook.
smoke is. We know that the flames are just about 100 yards south here, and crews are doing everything they can to contain the blaze. Taylor?
All right, Jacob, thank you so much for your coverage. We're also live streaming this on WCIA.com, so if you want to see more of what's going on over there. Thank you so much, Jacob. Well, now let's turn to WCIA for you, since you're right, who was in reporting on what's left from the fire Tuesday afternoon in Ogden. This is a breakdown of what happened, and the fire risk that's still there today. Mitchell, good afternoon. Now check out these aerial shots of the aftermath of that field fire we were talking about. As you can see, acres of farmland burned to the ground.
Caitlin, that was really great. Thank you for that.
This was the scene of a crash just outside of Homer. It happened when a semi-truck hit the combine. It happened at the intersection of 113 and Homer Road. Nobody was hurt, but some vehicles were in bad shape. The driver says he was turning off the two-lane road when a semi-truck accidentally two of them, which spun the combine back around and pushed it off the road. has closed down a portion of Interstate 55. It happened this morning in the northbound lanes near Chenoa. They say it's 2 trucks that crashed and caught fire. Traffic is being diverted there, so please seek an alternate route. And before we head to break, I know you guys are covering and following everything that's going on this morning. Stay safe.
Yeah, right now we've got our fire going out there. The Jacobs out there outside of Westville area. So keep that in mind. Here's a live look outside at the storm tracker as we speak. We'll check in with him later on during today and throughout our live stream that we're also doing here on Facebook Live. So keep that in mind. If you can't join us on air, join us there on the socials as well. Again, quite the mess out there. Another windy day for today. We'll talk more about our local forecast coming up here very soon. Don't go anywhere. Hey folks, for those who are joining us here right now, we're having Jacob out there live on the storm tracker, taking some video as we speak. I'm going to be doing a full weather forecast here in just a bit, so bear with us here
How we doing?
when it comes to that.
Do you live
we're
here?
going to get that rolling here, but we'll talk more about what the conditions are for the rest of today here.
I think over there you're okay.
So keep that in mind, folks, that again, we're keeping an eye on this,
if you're coming this way, if you live, they'll probably let you through at this point.
So we're trying to do both at the same time.
But yeah.
A bit of juggling here, so bear with us.
They're kind of stopping people from coming in from like Catlin and whatnot.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, we're trying our best right now to keep you informed, but also get a newscast going at the same time. So a lot going on, a lot of juggling here for today. Yes. Sam, if I could borrow a couple of you guys just to switch me back and forth after the show, that'd be great.
It's in Westville.
I just need somebody to run audio and somebody to run, just somebody to switch back and forth. Another check of what Jacob's up to right now here on Storm Tracker, and you'll see that right now we have him there out in the Storm Tracker looking at some of the smoke coming through on those field fires out there. Again, we're watching and keeping an eye on that. We can follow that here on our Facebook Live after we get done with our newscast here at noon. That's where we're going to be for this fire, as long as there is a need to be out there still. But again, getting a lot of video and a lot of smoke out there, and a lot of folks have been saying it's been pretty smoky there on social media. So join us there if you want to see more video of the fire. As of our forecast, though, pretty good conditions out there for fire weather. No surprises here as it comes to more opportunities for more fire and even some blowing dust to concern as well. Still, that's just the straight line winds. These are the wind gusts right now, and you can see they're even higher there. So what's really blowing is really causing issues out there. A look at Champaign. We're looking out to the east. Can't really see too much out there. We'll have to check in our Danville camera here pretty soon to see if we can see anything from that direction as well. But the showers and thunderstorms are on their way, and they're going to be moving this direction as we start to move forward in time here. Once we get towards tonight, that's when we're going to stop seeing the threat for fire weather. We have all the main ingredients, right? We do have the wind. We've been talking about that. You probably hear that right now. Not only that, very dry conditions both in the air and in vegetation too, as well as we have that drought monitor still showing us as a moderate drought for a good chunk of our viewing area here to abnormally dry as we go down towards the south here. So no surprises. It's a tinderbox, and adding this fuel strong winds to the fire, it's going to be a really big issue as well. So keep in mind that fire weather, obviously a huge concern for it today. If you're tempted to start burning something for it today, or even tempted to do anything outdoors that involves a little bit of sparks here and there, either put it off to the side or be extremely cautious with it. Again, burning, there are burn bans out there. Keep those in the back of your mind for today as well. We're going to keep seeing the potential for blowing dust still as a concern as well on top of the fire threat. Good news is, though, we're going to see that really come to an end here very soon. Not so much for today, but by this evening, you'll notice that we have right there strong winds. Farmers that are still out in the field, they're contending with that right now, especially the ones who are trying to clear out spots here for those fires that are being started. 82 there for sunny conditions, windy and warm, perfect environment for fire weather. No surprises here. Tonight, we see showers and thunderstorms make a return to central Illinois as early as tomorrow morning. I say tonight, but it's really going to be when we're all asleep or getting ready for bed here for some of us night owls out there. Showers and thunderstorms moving back in by 4:30 in the morning, so keep that in mind. And we'll keep that going all the way through the early afternoon hours here at the very, very latest. Here's 2 p.m., a few straggling showers, but we're drying things out, so maybe some mud puddles out there for those trick-or-treaters on Halloween. There is a potential for some severe weather for tonight going into tomorrow morning. Hail damaging winds are a possibility. Small threat for a tornado, not super large, but enough to keep an eye on it. There we go. Storm Prediction Center outlook showing that we have a marginal risk for severe storms, and level 1 out of 5 there. Also, keep in mind our tornado risk. Level 2 out of 10 there. 1 as you go further to the east, and 0 as you go even further to the edges of our viewing area here. Large hail and high wind are the primary concerns, but again, can't rule out a tornado completely here. We're going to keep an eye out for that as we go into the nighttime hours. 67 with morning storms here as we go into tomorrow. Here's the 7-day forecast real quick, and what you'll notice is that we have drier conditions for Friday and Saturday, more rain for Sunday, Monday, into Tuesday.
Tell her
we'll have
to
a lot more of opportunities to really get rid of the dry conditions as we go forward in time.
Absolutely. I know we are talking about this Westville fire, so definitely be careful when you route if you can in that area. We're not sure about evacuation, a mandatory evacuation, but it does look like that fire is close to homes.
So homes and on the fields out there.
Area, so, I mean,
and again, once we're done with this newscast, join us on Facebook there. We'll be able to kind of talk a little bit more with Jacob and get more, talk to him about what's going on and what he's seeing out there.
So be safe. Alrighty. Thank you so much, Anna. Stick with us. We'll be right back after the break.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Depends on time.
Hey, is there a way I can get Jacob to be heard in my ear? I can't hear him right now. I'm having a hard time working on that.
Who can't hear me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, well, I had him do a mic check, and I heard
Mic check,
him do
1,
a
2, 3,
mic
4.
check. I just can't hear him through my iPad. He won't be able to hear him that way, so I'll have to
Then he
turn
needs
up the
to.
thing.
Okay. Hey, can he not hear me in my ear, his ear, or what? Adam Sharinsky, can you hear me? Adam Sharinsky, can you hear me?
Now I can hear him. Thank you.
Perfect. I just switched on ClearCom for you. Hey, how we doing?
Oh shit, I live right here, so I'm a little worried.
Say again.
I said I live right here, so I'm a little
Oh, do ya?
worried.
I think they've got getting a handle on it. Hey, I'm about to go live. Can I talk to you in a second?
You're fine.
Perfect, thank you. And I'm going to turn the vehicle in a minute, so I'll catch you in a minute. Yep. Okay. Sweet. Cool, thank you. Yeah, so I want to give you some information, some good news about the fire here. Crews have been able to get an upper hand on it from what it looks like. We'll turn it back around. It looks like police is now starting to open the road back up here, and they've got all their crews that are out in the fields working on that. The one issue is, of course, the smoke plume from this has been pretty large. I'll turn the corner here for you and let you see how far up that smoke goes. That smoke goes for quite a ways off in the distance there. And you can see there are some residents in this neighborhood. They've been watching it closely. I just spoke to one man. He said that he was very interested in this because the fire was getting pretty close to this neighborhood here. But from my vantage point, it does appear that the fire is coming to an end. And so that's some good news for us that we don't want to give it all clear yet for it. But when we look at things here, some positive progress. Every once in a while, you can get a hot spot that starts to flare back up. And Taylor, I'm going to drive up here and give you another vantage point of some of those crews that are still working in the field right now. But the smoke levels have come down a lot. They're looking to the north of West Main Street to make sure there's no hot spots, and so we're going to keep an eye on that. And here in a second, Taylor, still are some flames, still some work going, but perhaps they do have the upper hand in this time. I can see where the ground has been charred only about 50 to 100 yards south of West Main Street, so this came very close to town here. Taylor?
Dig out
for those who are watching still with us right now here on the live stream. As you can see, we have Jacob going through town right now, and a lot of that smoke has started to quell down a little bit more, which is some good news here. But we're going to keep on with this even after our newscast until we get a good all clear, and then go from there. So thanks for joining us. I know it's been kind of chaotic trying to run a news show and do this at the same time. We're going to be back on here in just a second.
Coming up this afternoon at 4, a little girl's dream is coming true after working hard to go see Taylor Swift's store. We'll tell you what she did to pay for her entertainment. And before we wrap up, the weather team, you guys have been doing such a good job covering all of these fires. I know that crews have probably been tired from battling it, so we thank our first responders. You know, these conditions are continuing throughout the day, right?
Yeah, and right now we're going to check in with Jacob real quick here. He doesn't have to say anything, but we can see him driving down through town right now. Less smoke where he's at right now. We're going to see that these conditions will continue through the afternoon hours, so be mindful of that here. Don't think we're out of the woods just yet and completely in terms of fires there for today. So again, be very mindful if you're out in the field or out and about for today, that sparks are going to be easy to really start picking up over time here. We're going to check in with Jacob here on our WCIA, there on our social media pages there here in just a bit, but it looks like we've seen some positive news come out of this. We'll have another check of that 7-day forecast real quick, and the big takeaway from that 7-day, there we go, it's going to be wet by Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Thanks for joining us. Stay safe out there.
All right, thanks for joining us, folks, for that newscast. Jacob, can you hear me right now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So give us kind of a status update, what you're doing right now. I know we're kind of moving away from some of the smoke out there. What's going on?
Yeah, so I'm repositioning a mile south, and my goal is to get to where the fire started and give you a vantage point of that. I just passed the Westville Water Tower, one of Kevin Leidy's favorite things here. They had a station set up to where they were using it to get water into pumpers. So they had a really efficient operation because they only had to go about a half mile down the road to get to the fire and bring that water in, which really helps out in a scenario like this when fire is burning pretty quickly here. You can see we're pulling up to the scene of where these fire trucks are, and once I get stopped up here, I'll give you a little bit more of a vantage point of that. We don't want to get too close, but it does look like there's maybe just some hot spots in the field. There's some combine equipment, I should say tractor equipment out there with tillage equipment that's going through, but they started with this fire right here on 1100 North Road, about a half mile to the east there, and that's where they have been staging at that. And as I look to my right, now we're looking west. Before we were primarily on the west side of the fire looking east. Now we're looking to the west at these firefighters. The field to the right here, not a whole lot of smoke. There's a little bit, but they are out there putting water in, spraying things, and taking care of what's left here. Not nearly as much smoke as was a little while ago. You can see here those crews that are in. A number of departments with pumper trucks, brush trucks out in the field. A number of farmers with tiller equipment. They're disking the soil over to get rid of some of that material. And I think too, Adam, something that's been helpful with this fire is this fire has not gone through standing corn. That's a big thing. You can see here, and I'll turn the camera. Oop, you just lost me for a second there. Hold on. You pop up. There it is.
There you go.
You'll see here as I turn it to the right here. See how the ground, all of the stubble from post-harvest is there? That will still burn. But when that is 6-foot corn that is dry as a bone, the fire can really rip through that. And we saw that be the case yesterday in Champaign County along the Vermilion County line there, where crews were we were running through these fires and trying to control them, and it'd catch some standing corn on fire, and you wouldn't be able to stop it because of how much burnable material there is, essentially. How much it's just straight fuel that's out there. And so that's something that we're seeing. Looks like they've got some pumper trucks, some UTVs, and they've got some brush trucks out there that are taking care of things right now. So that's what we're dealing with here. Again, West Main is back open. I cannot see any new signs of big smoke and flames. There still is some smoke to the north of me, but I think that's just from hot spots and things like that. So we're gonna take a closer look up there and just make sure things are getting handled. But I feel pretty optimistic about how things are going here on the scene as firefighters continue to work and get things taken care of here with what's going on with the situation. So that's what we're dealing with here on the southwest side of Westville. And Adam, I'll tell you something else. Standing corn is a problem, but on a day like today, if you put a fire on the south and west side of a town really close, it doesn't take long for that fire to get closer to the town. Like we saw here in Westville, there was some concern where some of these neighborhoods on the west side and some of the houses along West Main Street, the smoke is blowing right into them, and the flames were getting really close there, and so that was certainly a problem that we were hoping to get it contained before it got any worse, and so far it does seem like that is the case here in Westville. Adam, that's my report here. I don't know if you have any questions or anything you're interested to know more about. Fire away, or if not, that'll be my report for you. Adam, back to you.
So far we've got a lot of people saying thank you to the farmers and thank you to the those folks who are kind of helping with this whole project. And so I think that's one thing, is that we want to give congrats to people being very quick in these actions. As you mentioned before, it was not too far from town there, some of those flames and some of the fires. So that's good that there was that activity. And a lot of folks are here on the chat that I'm looking through right now, very much saying thank you so much, thank you so much. And you know, both for the firefighters and the farmers out there. And it looks like it got wrapped up pretty quickly here. I want to say within the last hour or so is when this started to spark up a little bit. And so far, I mean, we've seen major improvements here just within that short time span from what I've seen so far. How are conditions out there, Jacob, both in terms of the air conditions out there and just in general? What's it like out there? Does it feel like, yeah, fire weather is really a big priority?
Yeah, so when we talk about fire weather, there's three things we're really looking for here. The first one is, and I just repositioned to face north, so maybe you'd get a little bit better vantage point. You can see that dust that's in the air. That's the farmers that are tilling up the soil. They're tearing it up. Basically, they're trying to take this stubble and this burnable material and put it back into the ground and try and bring up some dirt, because you can't catch dirt in fire, but this corn stubble will burn. So we've got a lot of dry vegetation. That's the first thing here. It's the time of year where farmers harvest. Corn does its thing, beans do its thing, and so we see that. But the problem is we haven't had really, in some parts of central Illinois, good rain since late August, and some folks are running under 10% of their normal rainfall over the last 60 days here. That's a problem. And then on top of that, the wind is another big issue here, where that wind is just pushing the fire along as soon as it starts. And that wind helps to spread. It adds oxygen to the situation, adds oxygen to the fire, and helps it to take off. And I would say this too, Adam. The fire conditions today probably are the worst they've been all year. We are really fortunate that the fire conditions that we had yesterday and today were not present even 2 weeks ago, because farmers have been harvesting a lot. There's not as much standing corn, and that helps things out. But when it comes to the weather, you're kind of vulnerable to what it can do, and that's the case with what's going on today. So we will see what happens, but we probably will have to deal with more flare-ups and more fires before long, Adam. Back to you.
Yeah, Jacob, I want to say thank you for being out there and checking out on this, because normally when people think of the storm tracker, they're thinking, hey, we're going to be out there talking about severe weather this whole time. But no, sometimes this is considered severe weather as well. It's not really what we consider severe weather, but it is severe weather. So yeah, we're going to keep track of this throughout the entire time. Anywhere else in position-wise, it looks like I can't really see any more smoke out there, very little at that. So it looks like they've really got a lot of it quelled here. Any other hot spots that you have seen so far as you've been out in your travels so far today, Jacob?
There was an earlier hotspot actually that came from the fire before over in the Ogden area. That Ogden fire, it kind of rekindled a little bit there, and so those crews were able to get on that quick and stop it. It was on the eastern edge of it. Sometimes you can have those hot, I don't necessarily call them coals, but it's the burnt material. It can stay hot when it's under the ground, and you can have it rekindle on a day like today. That is something that does happen. It does not have to be, at this point, a thrown cigarette. It doesn't have to be a hot harvester. It doesn't have to be a power line down. Just having some areas that had fire yesterday. They're going to be watching those very closely as well. I know that they're doing that over in the Ogden area from this. You can also see a lot of the blowing dust. That's the other thing, and so far we've been pretty lucky. I think the big difference from right now, as far as the dust is concerned, Adam, from spring to now is in the spring, farmers are tilling the soil to prepare it for planting. The soil is a lot more vulnerable. And a lot of the fields still have what we see in front of us here, that harvested material, that stubble that's there. That helps to hold the soil down. So maybe we've kept the dust storm problem from beginning any worse,
That's
but
good.
if we had these conditions in the spring when farmers are tilling the soil up, I think that'd be a whole different scenario that we'd be facing as well. So that is something else we do need to watch, though, and you can kind of see here. I'll turn it a little bit more. That farmer in the field ripping up that ground, he's got a brush truck following closely behind. That's the dust that's flying in the wind. The soil moisture is so low on a day like today. Adam, back to you.
Thank you so much, Jacob. Yeah, no, we can see that dust starting to fly a little bit more here, and no surprise that the wind will carry it, but I will say some of that materials that you mentioned that happen after harvest that are still left in the field, a couple of those go on the road. This morning caught me really quickly and scared me. That's just a personal anecdote, but I will say it's good that that stuff is keeping things a little bit more suppressed as well here. And yeah, even as you're watching them kind of work, you can see that the dust doesn't go too far and doesn't stay too high, which is some good news as well here, though. How many fires roughly yesterday did you have to go, or do we track here across the area, just to give people kind of a point of reference from what we see today and yesterday here? Because I know a lot of those fires didn't happen until later on in the afternoon.
Yeah, as far as that goes, the number that I know of is 4 that I know that we had heard about. And I that's on the record, but I also know from some viewers there were a few other small fires that did break out. To give you a rundown, first off, the biggest one was the Ogden fire. That one probably burned for 4 or 5 miles before they finally got it contained. There was a lot of standing corn in that area. We knew of a couple of fires in Iroquois County. I did arrive on scene in one between Crescent City and Onarga, and that was just like this. It was all harvested fields, it was all stubble, and it was way less than this as well, just different, a little bit different situation than standing corn. So they got to jump on that. They got that contained relatively fast in about an hour or so. And then we knew of another one up towards the north of Donovan, and the I think it was north of Donovan was where that was. One was in St. Anne in Kankakee County, and then excuse me real quick. Excuse me, had to sneeze. A bit of dust in the storm tracker here. Then we also had a couple of spots. There was a little fire that a viewer reported in the Cadwell area. That's southwest of Arthur. And then there was another hot spot detected down in Shelby County. I didn't hear any information on that. There was also another big fire in Fulton County yesterday, similar to the one we had in Champaign County. So that is something that we had to deal with here. And we'll see how many we have to deal with today. This makes number 2 on the list for me. By this time yesterday, I don't think I had any reports yet. Adam, back to you.
I noticed because I was here till about lunchtime yesterday, and there wasn't much at all. So far, I've been looking at some of the chat there, and again, you can join us and type some comments, seeing what you're seeing. Again, that does help us a lot. Whatever you guys see helps us a lot as well, because again, you guys that are watching the live stream and watching on air, giving us feedback, that's more eyes and ears for us here. And so far, I've seen a lot of people that said thank you for our coverage, but also thank you for the farmers, and thank you for the firefighters that are out there too as well. Did see one person see that they had some smoke over by the high school. Haven't seen anything. I don't know if you've seen anything, Jacob, but they said the smoke was pretty bad out there. But from what I'm seeing, I just see a lot more of a quelled situation than what we saw earlier. Are you still seeing any smoke out there? Because I'm seeing a lot less than what I saw previously when we first got on air.
Yeah, it'll take a little while for some of that smoke to dissipate downstream too. But I know from north of Westville here, then when you get up into Belgium and you get up to Hegler and into the southeast Danville, that smoke's heading in that direction. So some places up there certainly can have that. I think right now there's a lot more dust that's being blown in that direction because they're tilling that field up, trying to tear up that soil. And so that, I think, is probably what some folks are seeing. Now, I don't see anything that stands out to me as smoke necessarily, but that is something that's still going to watch closely here. I'm going to stick around a little bit while longer. Hey, you're about to see a cameo appearance. There goes Amanda Brennan, Travis Probst there, our reporter, who is coming up. And so that is what we are going to deal with there. And it looks like crews are still kind of, maybe the word is they are kind kind of hanging out, not really doing a.
we lost you,
they're not
Jacob.
in a hurry. Would be what I would say about that. So
we lost you.
that's something that I would say
we lost your audio there,
would be the
Jacob.
case with that. But they're still going to be watching for hot spots to flare up, and I'm sure that they are probably going to be out here for a little while longer. Adam, I think I lost you on my ClearCom app here.
And I
don't know
lost
if
you
can
too.
still hear me
I lost
now,
you too
but,
for a second. So.
Okay, I hear you now, so
Yep.
we're all good there. Heard that in my ear, and sometimes that happens, but we're here, and I think that's going to kind of conclude what we've got going on in Westville, because I think the situation from where we were at noon, I'll tell you what, when we opened that noon show, Adam,
it was bad.
It was much different scenario
Yep.
here. A lot of times these firefighters and farmers, it's almost kind of a back and forth game where they get the upper hand, and then does the fire spread, and then you're kind of going back and forth with that. But it looks like for now they may have finally won the battle, and they're going to keep close to make sure there's no sneak attacks that come in from any hot spots here in the field. Adam, I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, I think we're going to wrap this up here just for now, because it looks like we're starting to see a little bit more of this thing toned down. Still seeing some people in the chat saying that there's some ash and dust out there, out closer towards, there you are, Jacob, out towards the high school still, around that area. So just something to keep in mind here, but we're going to probably wrap this up here for now, and we'll go from there. So any final comments there, Jacob, before we go? We wrap up?
No, well, yes, I got one, I guess. I think the only thing I'm going to say is that maybe I got a couple of things now. I don't know. You're leaving me with a... You're giving me a chance here to say something. First off, I think our firefighters are heroes.
Yes.
I think our farmers are heroes.
Yes.
When there are these fires, they are heading into the fields. And the thing to note is these firefighters are volunteer firefighters in small towns all across central Illinois. A couple things that folks can do to support their local fire departments. One, I know we've reported on shortages before. Folks may think, hey, be on their local volunteer fire department to potentially help. Another thing is maybe you're baking some cookies, or you got some food. Maybe you just drop it by your local fire station one night and give them a little meal and give them a thank you for that. And the farmers as well. The farmers are a group of people where they get the bad end of both sticks here. They don't get to control how much they buy their inputs for. They don't get to control what they sell it for. These field fires come on through. People think it's their fault. They've got hot machinery in fields, and you can't beat the weather on something like this.
Yeah.
So, be kind to our farmers as well, because they are the first ones as well, jumping in their tractors, heading into those fields with their tillage equipment, and work side by side with those firefighters there. So that'll be my last report here from Westville. We'll hopefully be the end of hearing from me all day today, Adam.
Hopefully.
But if not, we'll be out here trying to bring updates on any fires that do occur.
Hey.
Back to you, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, while you're there, tell Amanda and Travis I said hello. All right,
I
Jacob.
will do that. There you can see
Thank you
Travis
so
getting
much.
out now. And
There goes Amanda. All right, guys. We're going to switch back here real quick. I'm going to step off camera for just 1 second and switch back to our weather graphics real quick. So thank you so much, Jacob, for joining us for today. We are going to stay off there as well, and we're going to be right back with just me. Again, there's a view that he has right now, and we'll talk a little bit more about the conditions real quick before we start to wrap things up here. And I apologize for stepping out of frame here real quick. We'll get back towards the graphics. There we go. That's what we're going to see right now. Switching it back one more time. There we go. What we're going to watch is I'm in the wrong setting, that's why. Really that we have seen just the drier conditions come back into play here. Let's talk about why it's been so dry real quick. And yeah, it's just been dry here in Central Illinois. We've had that issue for quite some time here, and really winds are from the south here. We've had the just abnormally dry conditions across the area, so we're going to keep an eye on this as we go forward in time. Again, this has been quite an issue for us, so we're going to wrap this up right now. Hopefully we don't have to check in with Jacob anymore for today, knock on wood. But if not, we will see you guys later on, and we'll keep you covered. Have a good one. Stay safe.